Jinger Duggar can admit things have changed at her childhood home. The 19 kids and counting alum, 31, detailed a recent trip to Arkansas to see her family on the Wednesday, July 2 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy Podcast, which she co-hosts with her husband, Jeremy Vuolo. She prefaced their story by saying the last time she saw her large family was around Christmas, and that in hindsight, she wished she and her husband would have planned better. Agreeing, the former soccer player, 37, called it a logistical burden to ask all of the Duggars to make the trek to California, which led their family of 4, with one on the way, to do so instead. It was the most special trip. I think it meant the world to me in that season, Jinger said. The reality star welcomed her third child, a son named Finnegan Charles, in March. She and Jeremy are also parents to daughters Felicity Nicole, 6, and Evangeline Jo, 4. Their most recent trip back home, while amazing, was definitely different. I love going back to visit and at the same time it's overwhelming, Jinger explained. And this is why, because we live away. There are a couple siblings who live away now, just a few, and when you live away from family and then you come back, then everybody wants to see you, everybody wants to connect with you, and it can be so tough to juggle all of that because when you have so many siblings and their families, the growing number of nieces and nephews and more don't make things any easier. Trying to coordinate stuff is hard, especially when you're just there, even if you're there for a week. To be able to see everybody, to be able to, connect individually is hard, Jinger said. It's kind of crazy though because when we first walked in, I thought this was so cute. We walked in and Felicity, she's like walking in and everything's clean. It's like perfectly clean. And I'm walking in thinking, okay, I know typically when you show up at the big house, it's kind of messy, she continued. However, seeing it more organized than usual was a surprise. I thought, okay, this is a different season of life because you have, maybe 5 kids who live there now, and they're all grown. I mean, I say all grown. Josie's what, 15, but she's the youngest, and so that's strange, she said. While discussing her siblings later in the conversation, Jinger added, I love seeing how they've grown and matured, what they're into now, because when I left, that was a long time ago. It was 8.5 years ago. And those little kids are all grown up. And it's hard for me to picture the little kids as teenagers and as adults now, she said. It's kind of wild. 19 kids and counting alum Jinger Duggar offered a glimpse into her recent trip to see her extended family in Arkansas, including the wild aspect of the homecoming visit. Jinger Duggar can always count on a good time when she visits home. The 19 kids and counting alum, who welcomed baby Finnegan, 3 months, with husband Jeremy Vuolo in March, detailed a recent family trip to her childhood home in Arkansas, including the wide range of emotions she felt going into the last-minute excursion. I love going back to visit, Jinger said on the July 2 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy Podcast, and at the same time, it's overwhelming because we live away. There are a couple siblings who live away now, just a few, and when you live away from family and then you come back, everybody wants to see you. While making time with loved ones proved tough to juggle, at times, the 31-year-old, who also shares daughters Felicity, 6 and Evangeline, 4, with Jeremy, 37, noted that it wasn't the only wild aspect of her homecoming. Typically, when you walk into the big house, it's kinda messy, she said of her childhood home. We would clean the house every night and it would be spotless, ready to go. But when you walk in at 2 p.m. on a weekday and the house is clean, I thought, okay, this is a different season of life. Indeed, having grown up as one of Jim Bob Duggar and Michelle Duggar's 19 children, Jinger explained that the once bustling household is much less populous nowadays. You have maybe 5 kids who live there now and they're all grown, she went on. So that's strange. Although Jinger and Jeremy's home in Southern California is a considerable distance from most of her relatives, the couple, who wed in 2016, have come to love their West Coast lifestyle. I love living in Los Angeles, Jinger told E! News in January 2023. It's been amazing. We have an awesome community around us, really good, solid friends that we love to hang out with. For more on the Duggars' vast family tree, keep reading. The parents of 19 and grandparents of over 3 dozen little ones started out as high school sweethearts. Michelle has recalled being saved at 15. Then, one night, Jim Bob was making home outreach visits on behalf of his Baptist church and he ended up knocking on the Ruark family's door after his friend told him that this girl from school that just got saved and is a cheerleader lived there. They invited Michelle to Sunday school at their church and, Jim Bob said, he prayed to God that they could be each other's spiritual leaders, though apparently their first meeting wasn't as memorable for Michelle. A year later, she applied for a job at the frozen yogurt shop owned by Jim Bob's parents. You came to the counter where I was standing by the cash register and introduced yourself, Michelle remembered in a letter posted on the family blog in 2017 for Jim Bob's birthday and their 33rd wedding anniversary. You were shy but very sweet. I really don't remember much about that conversation, except that you finally mustered up the courage to ask me if I would go to your junior-senior banquet with you. She attended the dinner with him at Shiloh Christian, but it was when they hung out afterward discussing the Bible for hours at her parents' house that she knew. From there, we believe our hearts were knit together, Michelle has said. We graduated high school in May of 1984 and were married in July. I was 17 and Jim Bob was 19. The couple dedicated themselves to God and each other for the long run. Jim Bob is a former state legislator, having served in the Arkansas House of Representatives for the 6th District from 1999 until 2002, during which he was vice chair of the House of Corrections and Criminal Law Subcommittee. A run for U.S. Senate in 2002 ended in the primary, as did a bid in 2006 to become the Republican nominee for Arkansas State Senate District 35. He and Michelle, who are both licensed realtors, have been active in conservative causes, an aspect of their lifestyle that won them in 19 Kids and Counting, which premiered in 2008 as 17 Kids and Counting, both proud supporters and fierce critics. As of October 2024, they were grandparents of 33 with 3 on the way. Eldest Duggar child Josh Duggar was born March 3, 1988. He too became a conservative activist, campaigning for the Family Research Council. He stepped down after old police records surfaced in 2015 revealing that he had been accused of molesting several girls, including his sisters Jessa Duggar and Jill Duggar, when he was a teenager. Jessa defended her brother in a sit-down with Fox News that June, insisting that the worst names people were calling Josh were so overboard and a lie, really. I mean, people get mad at me for saying that, but I can say this because I was one of the victims. His wife Anna Duggar, whom he married in a September 26, 2008, ceremony featured on 19 Kids and Counting, also stuck by him, including after he admitted to being unfaithful. When he checked into a treatment center in 2016, his parents called it a crucial first step in recovering and healing. Parents of 3, daughter Mackenzie October 8, 2009, and sons Michael June 15, 2011, and Marcus June 2, 2013, when the scandal broke, Anna gave birth to their 4th child, Meredith, on July 16, 2015, the same day TLC canceled 19 Kids. Their 5th child, son Mason Garrett, was born September 12, 2017, daughter Mariella Hope arrived November 27, 2019 and baby No. 7, Madison Lily, was born October 23, 2021. In a federal indictment filed in April 2021, Josh was charged with a count apiece of receipt and possession of child pornography. He pleaded not guilty on both counts. In 2022, Josh was found guilty of both, but the possession charge was vacated by the judge and sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. Shortly after Josh was born, Michelle got pregnant again, but suffered a miscarriage. While she and Jim Bob were still grieving that loss and praying for guidance, they found out that twins were on the way. We felt it was a double blessing, she told Love to Know. God was encouraging our hearts. We're still learning. It's really so unusual, because I breastfeed my babies, but my children are so close together. I have a baby and then 8 months later I'm expecting. Just another unusual thing the Lord has seen fit to do with our situation. John David Duggar and his twin sister Jana Duggar were born on Jan. 12, 1990. After a whirlwind courtship, they did know of each other for several years, before meeting at a church event in Abby's home state of Oklahoma, and a short engagement. John David and Abby Grace Burnett got married on November 3, 2018. They welcomed daughter Grace Annette Duggar on January 7, 2020 and son Charlie Duggar in September 2022. On their 30th birthday in January 2020, Jana wrote in a sweet message, "Ever since John and I were little we've been asked if we have that twin thing. You know, the thing where you feel what the other one is feeling or know what the other one is thinking. Well, John, I've always answered that with a no, but now I can honestly say that the day little Gracie was born I felt every bit of happiness that you did, so I guess it must be real." Jana continued, "It's so sweet watching you and Abby as parents. You're naturals, and the same qualities that have made you a wonderful brother will also make you an amazing dad.